Alright, this is part 3 of the Book of Remembrance, brought to you by the Center for Enlightenment, hopefully in a town near you in the near future, and I am Bartholomew. Here we see a portrait of the sun god Huitzilopochtli, and he is closely linked to the Luciferian morning glory. You can see here the morning glory tendril in his left hand, indicating the left-handed path, and the hummingbird visiting the morning glory flower. So that hummingbird is a symbol for the morning glory because it visits the morning glory flower. This shield even is a representation of the Iron Cross, which is a symbol for the morning glory. And that's Huitzilopochtli. Now let's take a look at a little closer look at this deity. What did he want? He wanted human sacrifice. Here you see on an altar to the deity, Lucifer, the cutting out of human hearts. The heart looks like a scallop shell because the heart is closely linked to the scallop shell of psilocybin in that we have souls. And in the soul, there is the heart, there is the spirit, and the spirits abide in the heart, so to speak. And this is echoed in this piece of artwork, unfortunate artwork, where the heart is shown as a psilocybin seashell, the scallop. Okay, here again, another temple to Huitzilopochtli, and this is showing the, you can just see it cut off there, the butterfly symbol. He had 3 symbols, as I may have mentioned, the serpent, the butterfly, and the cockroach. No, just kidding. The serpent, the hummingbird, and the butterfly. That's why a lot of times when you hear people talking about how they've gone through a metamorphosis, it's like, but was it the right direction? So, and this is the serpent eating its tail in this occult society. Not this occult society, we are not a cult. This is an open, free society. The morning glory is being represented as a serpent eating its tail, and that represents the Illuminati's mindset that life must be self-consuming. So eat the poor is what they're suggesting, metaphorically. Alright, the Aztecs and psilocybin, they did have psilocybin users. They were considered to be a group that was thought highly of themselves, and so the attitude generally of the Aztecs towards psilocybin users, not people who used it on religious occasion, but people who used it as a practitioner, as a theological science, to heal people, to find lost items, you name it. If you needed a god for it, these guys could provide it. So let's go back a few thousand years to prehistory in Europe. This is from Algeria, and it's a piece of rock art showing a bee shaman. Honey was closely linked to psilocybin. You could preserve psilocybin mushrooms in honey. It's called bluing honey. And this bee shaman was a partaker of the mushrooms. As you can see here, he's sprouting mushrooms from his entire body. Human history in stone. The psilocybin mushrooms are being depicted here in the headset of these individuals. You've got one with the sun beaming from the mushroom's top, or the capstone, and another with a, it looks like a stick for mashing up the psilocybin. These are the mushrooms that grew in that area, the Pinnalia species. And here's another practitioner using the arrows as symbolic for the arrowhead. The origin, probably, of where we came up with arrowheads was a mushroom user. It could have been a morning glory user. That Tubal Cain is supposed to be the inventor of the first weapons. So he was pretty ancient history. Not as old as this, though. This is 40,000 years. Alright, origins of art history. These are mushroom users. Again, the head is showing that of a mushroom. This mushroom user is putting their hand to their head like, I can't believe, like, oh my God. And of course there would be herders following the cattle, pastoralists, who were later wiped out by Cain, or agriculturalists. Here is somebody holding up the first soma, which was the psilocybin mushrooms used by the Dravidic people of India and believed to be in the Vedas under the name of Indu. Goddess worship. We did eat that apple, that fruit, the Amanita muscaria, and you can see here this icon has a fly-shaped, mushroomish quality to it. Well, Satan's name was known as Beelzebub, or Lord of the Flies. Here we have the Venus of Willendorf, and she is, her head is that cap of Amanita muscaria, and another goddess symbol. So goddess worship arose around 35,000 years ago and was directly tied to the morning glory. When Lucifer couldn't get his way with the males, he went after the females. Typical tactic. Nothing we won't anticipate. Human prehistory in stone. Alright, so this is Gobbledygook Tepe, a temple, in one of the earliest temple or religious site in the world. It's at 15,000 years, or 11,500, my bad. And basically the shapes of the stone statues, especially with the coloration of orange, show that it was psilocybin that was being referenced here. But the scriptures in Genesis say, and yet they knew God, and yet did not account him as such. Break that down as you can. Second soma showed up on the scene. The Aryans brought in the soma proper, or the second soma of the three. And the third one was the morning glory in the form of the Hawaiian baby wood rose, which is known in India and is used as Ayurvedic medicine to this day. So this morning glory contains about 25 micrograms of LSD, or LSD-like substance called LSA. I don't really recommend it. It's good for your thinking cap, but it doesn't feed the heart at the same time, so you kind of grow unbalancedly, from a biochemical perspective. So here you see the conch shell displaying clearly the morning glory tendril, and the conch shell was set up as a kind of an altar in India. All right, we'll bring it to a close here, but that's the second soma of three, and the third being the morning glory of India. Thanks for paying attention.